Hello everybody in ASCI 609. This is presentation 2.3, FAA Maintenance and Inspection Programs by Mark DeLordo. For this presentation, we are going to be comparing and contrasting different types and levels of aircraft maintenance and discussing how it impacts inspection programs and in turn airworthiness. Okay, to begin discussing types of maintenance programs, I'm going to start with discussing maintenance steering groups 1 and 2. These started with the process-oriented approach, which was developed by Boeing in 1968 for the 747. Process-oriented approach uses a bottom-down analysis of component failures. It starts with dividing aircraft into 6 zones and then further breaking down each one of those zones by the components and then analyzing the components by their failure rate. Once that is known, the components are assigned into one of the categories. The hard time items are components with definite life limits. The on condition items have wear indicators, and the condition monitoring items are operated until failure, but they're things that cannot be tracked by either of the first two methods. MSG1 evolved into MSG2, which grew to support additional aircraft models because of the success of MSG1. So MSG2 used 5 steps to create process flow diagram of maintenance actions to be required, and now it's dividing the aircraft into only 3 areas. So the task-oriented approach evolved out of the process-oriented approach when MSG3 arose in the 1980s. Now they're scheduling, they follow scheduled intervals to perform predetermined maintenance tasks. They're also using redundant systems and equipment to maintain safety of flight and the occurrence of in-service failures. Now with the task-oriented approach in MSG3, they're using a top-down fault tree analysis starting at the highest level of aircraft systems and branching down into individual components. And then the MSG3 system uses 3 categories to develop maintenance tasks. So it divides airplane and its systems into 3 tasks: airframe system tasks, structural atom tasks, and zonal tasks. So to compare the task-oriented and process-oriented approaches, the process-oriented maintenance programs first arose with MSG1 and was only used for the 747. Then MSG1 evolved into MSG2, which helped advance process-oriented maintenance programs by applying it to more types of aircraft models. Then MSG2 laid the groundwork for MSG3 by providing validated and reliable system with over 10 years of data. The process-oriented approach used a bottom-up analysis, and the task-oriented uses top-down. Then between the 3 maintenance steering groups, MSG1 used 6 working groups to divide the aircraft into and then into further subsystems. MSG2 used 3 aircraft areas, and MSG3 used 3 task zones. So now the different levels of maintenance and inspections. The daily inspections require oil level checks after flight, and then also they're going to inspect time deferred discrepancies or postponed maintenance actions that are maybe due to flight schedule constraints, but they will be addressed at a later time and they need to be monitored. There's 48-hour checks, which used to be the daily check, which is a more thorough inspection. It's going to look at things like wheel and brake wear indicators, also hydraulic and oil servicing levels, and it's going to include a complete visual inspection of the aircraft structure. Then there are also hourly limit checks, which are determined by hours of operation of a particular component. Something like engines, flight controls, and avionics equipment may only be operated to a certain hourly limit. Additionally, there's operating cycle checks, which are based on the number of cycles performed. Certain things that are limited by operation cycles are landing gear, and even the aircraft itself, I think, has a limit on how many times it can be pressurized and depressurized. before the fuselage loses its structural integrity. And then finally, there's letter checks that are grouped items that are components and systems that are not covered by either hours or cycles, and so are therefore scheduled into intervals of A, B, C, and D checks. How do maintenance programs affect inspection programs and airworthiness? The task-oriented programs require redundant systems in the event for in-service failures that the equipment and aircraft can meet aircraft airworthiness standards and safety. The MSG3 process collects data and establishes maintenance programs for new aircraft, which then in turn publishes the tasks in the Maintenance Review Board report, which is approved by the FAA as the aircraft's airworthiness criteria. The MRBR includes the initial scheduled maintenance program for the aircraft operator to complete required inspections.